Imagine your team losing a game since the trade deadline. It could not be me, and it could not be these Texas Rangers, winning their 8th straight to get the A's. We're talking about all that and Max Scherzer's dominance on this episode of Locked On Rangers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On the Texas Rangers. I'm Bryce Patrick, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan since 2010, the founder and host for all 5 seasons of this Locked On Rangers podcast. Today is Wednesday, August 9th. Your Rangers are 68-46, alone in first place atop the AL West by 3 games ahead of those stinking Houston Astros. Thank y'all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If you're not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Subscribe on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Now, before I break down the Rangers' 8th straight win, this episode is brought to you by BirdDogs. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB or enter promo code LockedOnMLB for a free white tech hat just like this with any order. You won't want to take your BirdDogs off, we promise you. Now, the Rangers won 6-1, a pretty drama-free game against the Oakland A's. Take the series win, 3 straight series wins, going for 3 straight series sweeps in the afternoon game tomorrow, or I guess today, with Jordan Montgomery on the hill. And the Rangers got a great performance from their newly acquired Mets ace. Still pretty good, like the old acquired Mets ace. The Rangers are undefeated in games started by last year's Mets aces in Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer. And this one, the Mets are paying $25 million to not pitch for their team. He looked pretty good. He looked like I might pay him $25 million to pitch for my favorite team. But the Rangers are absolutely incredible right now. Everything is going right for Texas. The top of the lineup, the bottom of the lineup, the defense, the pitching, the bullpen, everything outside of injury luck is going incredibly right for the Rangers. And this has been the team that we've expected. This is the team that has been this good for the most part in the month of April, in the month of May, and in the early part of June. This was the best team in all of baseball, I thought, for at least the first 2.5 months of the season. Even with those Rays starting off on that 13-game winning streak, Rays got some really bad luck about Shane McClanahan, who probably won't pitch again this year, which really freaking sucks for baseball and really sucks for the Rays. But, this Rangers team, things are really breaking their way. I mean, it was just not a close game in this one. The Rangers got key contributions from the top of their third of their lineup, who are just all incredibly hot right now. Although I wouldn't really necessarily qualify Seager as hot. The reason is he's just always like this right now. He is just the best hitter in all of baseball. That's what Corey Seager is. He has just been the best hitter in all of freaking baseball this year. He's got a 1,069 OPS on the season, a slash line of 355, on base 412, slugging 657. He's slugging over 600 against lefties and righties. He's doing against literally everybody. Had 19 home runs on the season, 31 doubles on the season, still 0 triples, and he's trying to leg out a triple that cost him a month and a half. And if he didn't do that, then, the numbers he's on pace for, if he was healthy for the entire season, because he's been absolutely incredible basically from the second he has gotten on the field. He didn't have a whole lot of home runs before he got injured with that hamstring injury, 3 weeks into the season that he missed basically 6 weeks. And then once he came back, that's when he started hitting the home run ball. And right now he's only played in 72 games, and if you just double that out, say that was his full season, say he only played 144 games this season, he would have 38 home runs, 62 doubles, and 132 RBIs. It's just unbelievably good what he's been doing, and he has been comfortably, I'd say, the best hitter in baseball. His expected batting average, literally best in baseball. His barrel rate, top 2% of baseball. Expected WOBA, expected slugging percentage, both those in the top 1% of baseball. Hard hit percentage, average exit velo, all those in the top 2% of baseball. The guy's just been absolutely incredible, stinging the baseball every single time he makes contact, walking at a great rate, not striking out at a great rate, hitting the ball for average, hitting it for power, getting on base, just doing damage, barreling literally everything. Righties, lefties, hard throwers, soft throwers. It just doesn't matter what you throw at Corey Seager. He's going to hit the ball the opposite field. He's going to pull the crap out of it. He is going to just barrel literally anything you throw at him, it is always going to come off of his bat at 95 or more miles an hour. Just pretty much everything that he hits is 95 miles an hour or more, which is a hard hit ball. The guy is just unbelievable and one of the best pure hitters I think I've ever seen in the game of baseball. I knew that he was a good hitter coming in. I knew that when the Rangers signed him, I was overjoyed, and I thought, okay, well, the guy's defense is going to be kind of terrible at shortstop, and he's going to hit the absolute snot out of the baseball. Not going to hit for the most power, but it'll be pretty good. And then all he's done since he's been on the Rangers is just hit the absolute tarnation out of every single baseball play. Pretty good defense at shortstop this year. It's been a pretty big upgrade, it feels like, this year compared to last year. Maybe that's because the Rangers are actually competitive this year, and they matched their season win total from last year with tonight's win, and it is August 9th. I'd say it's technically August 8th for 2 more minutes while I'm recording this, but by the time you're listening to this, it will be August 9th, and the Rangers already have as many wins as they did last year. And I feel like there were a few places that this is about what they expected the Rangers to do. There are some places that thought, maybe the Rangers will lose like 90-ish games this year, which was absolutely unfathomable to me. After you buy an entirely new rotation, you have Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, who have been here for a year. And Marcus Semien has also been one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball since the All-Star break. In his last 15 games, he's hitting .339 with an on-base over .420 and slugging .576. He's got 3 home runs in his last 7 games and a slugging percentage of .741 during that span. He's just been unreasonably good, hustling out base hits, including a infield hit that scored Sam Huff, the catcher, from second base on an infield single by Marcus Semien. Those are the kind of things that are going right for the Rangers. When you got Sam Huff, the 6'5", 200-plus pound catcher, scoring from second base on an infield hit, that's just when things are going, everything is going your way, except for, unfortunately, that injury luck. But the Rangers had some injured aces. They traded for another ace and Max Scherzer. We saw what he looks like at his peak. We saw a bit of a struggle for him in his first start, but once he got going, he was absolutely incredible this start. We saw what he looked like at his peak. But Nathaniel Lowe, like I said, in that top 3 of the order, Lowe in the second half has been just as good as he was last year in the second half. Through 23 games after the All-Star break, he's hitting .333 with an on-base of .444 and slugging .590, a 1,034 OPS, which could be just a little bit higher if the wall was just a little bit lower. In Oakland, had a double, his 32nd of the season. Should have been his 5th home run since the All-Star break. Instead, it was his 7th double since the All-Star break, but the guy continues to absolutely mash baseballs. Those top 3 in your order, plus, of course, Adolis Garcia hitting 4, that 1 through 4, even with the injuries sustained to your number 5 and 6 hole hitters, and Ezekiel Duran not quite being what he has been in the first half. And Leo Taveras, we've seen him start to figure a few things out a little bit more recently. And, if Robbie Grossman and Travis Jankowski are your, 7-hole hitters at this point, or I guess 6-hole hitters at this point, then you're still in a really good place, because those top 4 are as good, I'd say, as any other top 4 lineup in all of baseball. Coming up, we're going to look at Max Scherzer's dominance, what we can expect from him, why this is just the tip of the iceberg, and a fun little moment from Max Scherzer that shows you the absolutely insane level of competitor that he is. The first, let's word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Bird Dogs are the most comfortable shorts and pants you will ever wear. They've also got some sweet hats as well, and I'm wearing the pants, but I don't want to stand up and mess up my headset and my microphone by showing them off. But I literally cannot take my Bird Dogs off. They are so freaking comfortable. Bird Dogs make you look good. Bird Dogs have stretch khaki shorts designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg to give you a truly sculpted look. They fit way better than regular shorts that are made of a stiff, restricting cotton. Bird Dogs fix that issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. Bird Dogs uses anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. Even as I'm recording this, that it is 94 degrees at midnight. Of course, I am still, my top half is a little sweaty, but my bottom half is just cool as can be because Bird Dogs keep you cool. So go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB or enter promo code LockedOnMLB for a free white tech hat with your order that looks a little something like this. It is a very, very nice and very comfortable hat as well. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB or promo code LockedOnMLB for a free white tech hat. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you. Shout out to the Everydayers for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On Thursday's show, I'll be trying to get a crossover with Jason Burke of Locked On A's to break down this series and hopefully the Rangers' ninth straight win. The Rangers take on the A's this week and catch every pitch with the Hometime broadcast on SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Rangers. Now, Max Scherzer is the Rangers' new ace, newly acquired ace, and he had a phenomenal outing in this one. Like I said, 7 innings of just 1-run ball, which falls into my elite category that I broke down different categories of how I kind of think of starts in 5 different ways. Either elite is 7 innings or more and 1 run or fewer. I think I said 2 runs or fewer, but still, that is the definition of a very, very good start because the Rangers, it wasn't necessarily high leverage. Almost any high leverage, the Rangers had a 1-run lead for, and the second inning and third inning, and then in the top of the fourth inning, they dropped a 3 spot, and then that was all the Rangers needed to go the distance in this one. The Rangers only gave up just the 1 run on the 1 home run. We have been warned many times, but in my comments and from everywhere, from every Mets fan ever, it's like Max Scherzer gives up a bunch of home runs. Well, he's only given up a 1 in 2 starts, and granted, it is against the Oakland A's and against the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox do have quite a few home run hitters, but they kind of babbibbed him to death in the first one when he got 9 strikeouts in 6 innings. This time, he had fewer strikeouts than innings pitched, which I said was probably going to be the case because no matter who is in this Oakland A's lineup, no matter how bad the team is, they do not strike out a lot. They have really annoying, prolonged at-bats, but Max Scherzer was very, very efficient in his pitch count, only needed 89 pitches to get through 7 innings, and the last couple of innings were prolonged a little bit more than he would have liked, which was being prolonged literally at all. Anything more than an immaculate inning, I'm sure, pisses him off because he gets pissed off at a lot of things, including he only gave up 3 hits tonight, but Max Scherzer thinks it only should have been 2. There was a ball that was hit to first baseman Nathaniel Lowe that was, probably a ball that he could have handled, and I think probably should have been ruled an error. And after he was walking off the mound at the end of the 7th inning, he went and had a very animated discussion, Max Scherzer is, with the home plate umpire, just pointing out the finger, number one. I thought initially, that means he wants 1 more inning from Bruce Bochy. He's only thrown 89 pitches. He thinks, I can go out there, I can get 8 innings, and maybe if I'm really efficient, that I can go and get the full complete game. Not shutout, but a complete game, one run. But that wasn't the case. He was complaining about the error that he thought should have been charged in Nathaniel Lowe so that he could be charged with 1 fewer hit, which literally didn't matter. He stranded the runner anyway. But just that's the kind of look at the guy Max Scherzer is. We heard a whole bunch about how he is such a competitor, how he's such a fiery guy, very outspoken. That is one of the things that Ryan Finkelstein of Locked On Mets said, you're going to notice that pretty quickly. He does not have a problem speaking his mind. We literally saw that in the opening press conference where he said, the Mets said they were going to suck this year, next year, and just kind of, lit that match and walked away, which I don't think was him really lighting all that much on fire. The Mets fans getting mad at him for saying that, again, I think is hilarious and overblown because he's not the one that made that decision for the team to be bad in the next couple of years, and they're probably going to trade him whether he said that or not. And if these Mets fans are getting mad about them not being able to recruit free agents. Well, if your owner's not going to spend to fix your competitive window in 2024 or 2025, then no matter what Max Scherzer said, it doesn't matter. But anyway, this is the kind of loud, outspoken, very a guy who's got a lot of respect in the league, a lot of skins on the wall. He has been a member of the Players Union, a big, loud, outspoken member. The Rangers had 2 guys who were on the Players Executive Board when they were facing this lockout, Marcus Semien and Max Scherzer, 2 guys that are extremely well respected around the league. He's a guy who's got multiple Cy Young awards. I believe it's 3 Cy Young awards, and he has just been incredibly long tenured and well respected. He's a loud, fiery guy. The Rangers don't have a whole lot of that in their team. I think that he could provide something that the Rangers have not had in a while. This is a team of a lot of laid back, chill, I don't want to talk, I don't want to be loud and outspoken, I'm just going to lead with my play on the field. That's Corey Seager, that's Marcus Semien, that's, I think, Nathaniel Lowe to a degree, and it's also Jacob deGrom. But I think that's fine. I think Nathan Eovaldi is a little bit like that as well. I can't really get a read on the vibe from him, but from the reporting I've seen and from everything that I've seen, that's mostly what has been this team's vibe, and that's been fine, and it's led to them winning a whole lot of games. But I think every once in a while you need somebody that will be loud, will say something that will yell, that will get very, very animated. Now, if you have too much of it, I think it can definitely be a very toxic work environment. Bruce Bochy is not going to be that guy for the most part. He knows when to, which is not very often, but having a guy in the room on the team that has that experience, has that respect that he has earned, and is contributing to the team in a big way, which Max Scherzer is. I think that's something that can get guys fired up in ways that the rest of this team really couldn't do. I think Josh Young eventually could be that kind of vocal leader, but right now he's a rookie, and right now at the second he is. I believe Wednesday is when he's actually undergoing a surgery. I think yesterday I said he'd already undergone it. That's what I'd seen on Twitter. That was not the case. He's undergoing that surgery, I believe, scheduled for Wednesday, which he will be out 6 weeks, and it seems like he will be back towards the end of the regular season to maybe wrestle away that AL Rookie of the Year from Gunnar Henderson, but that's not a point for here nor there. But having a guy like Max Scherzer, who is not at all afraid to speak his mind in the most vocal of ways, I think it'll be a good thing for this team. We've seen the upside of Max Scherzer, and literally just last year, all these people were wanting to say that Max Scherzer is not necessarily cooked, but there's no way he can get back to the version of Max Scherzer that has been great. We've seen flashes of brilliance from Max Scherzer this year. We've seen it in innings 2 through 6 in his first start. We saw it in basically all of this start. This guy has got a huge ceiling, and it would not be surprised at all to me if he is the Rangers' Game 1 starter in whatever playoff series they're in, even over Nathan Eovaldi, assuming that he does get healthy for the postseason, which I think will be the case. But still, this is a guy with multiple Cy Youngs, a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. This is the kind of guy you want on your team. You kind of wish that it was Jacob deGrom, that he was healthy, that you didn't have to give up Luis Angel Acuna to go get Max Scherzer, but that's where you are. Injuries happen to everybody, to every pitcher. The Rangers knew that. That's why they bought an entirely new rotation. That's why they have still traded for 2 guys at midseason, and they are you can never have enough starting pitching. The Rangers finally feel like they might just have enough starting pitching with Max Scherzer as their new ace. Coming up, we're going to look at some of the other things, the little things that the Rangers did right, why it was so encouraging for some of these guys to get in on the action, and a little bit of wildness in Baltimore. And the Rangers should have gotten an extra game of separation on those stinking Houston Astros. But first, this word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Want the chance to win more money with less picks? Head to Sleeper, where you can win up to 100 times your money on just 2 or more fantasy baseball picks. Do you think that Jordan Montgomery is going to have a great second game with the Rangers? Do you think Corey Seager is going to have another home run? Well, if you do, then on Sleeper you can swing for the fences with up to 100 times payouts. All you have to do is choose 2 or more players that you like and select more or less on their stat categories like home runs, strikeouts, hits, and more. Get your picks right and you could win big. So, use promo code LOCKEDON and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. Shout out to the Everydayers for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On Friday's show, we'll be breaking down what happened with the Rangers in the minors this week. The Rangers take on the A's this week and catch every pitch with the hometown broadcast on SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Rangers. Now, the Rangers have 8 straight wins. Everything is going right for them outside of that, unfortunate injury luck. But the Rangers are getting contributions from all the way up and down their lineup, including from Ezekiel Duran, who has been in a pretty rough way. He did have that home run when he came in for Josh Young whenever he got injured on Sunday, and then he had maybe his second best at-bat of the season. His best at-bat was the opposite field home run that he had against Shane McClanahan, where he homered off, I believe it was a changeup outside the zone to the opposite field, the first oppo shot of his big league career. That was an incredible at-bat. This one was also very, very impressive. It came against J.P. Sears in the top of the second inning. It was a 7-pitch at-bat that ended in an RBI single to put the Rangers on the board on a 94.6 mile an hour fastball. Now, I've seen a lot of reports about, the thing that Ezekiel Duran is doing really well this year is that he is hitting the crap out of fastballs. That really has not been the case for him. He has done much better against the off-speed stuff, against the breaking stuff, but his run value against four-seam fastballs is -4, whereas sliders, he is +2, sinkers, he is -3, curveballs +2, and changeups, he is +4. Also, if you want to go into the other ones, they're all kind of about average that he doesn't see a whole bunch of. But basically, the point is that he is hitting the off-speed stuff very, very well. And it feels like as of late, he is not hitting it nearly as well. He's hitting 288 against sliders and 214 against four-seam fastball. So just for those of you who are looking at that, he is slugging significantly higher. He does have a higher, ISO against fastballs than he does against sliders, but still, that is beyond the point. I mean, he just has been in a really, really rough way, and to see him battle like this against a pretty decent starter, JP Sears has had a couple of really good games this year. He's got an ERA around in the 4-ish range. The Rangers were able to get to him early and chase him from this game because of some really quality at-bats from all the way up and down the lineup. They got a 3-hit game from Seager, multiple hits from everybody in the top of their lineup. I mean, even Nathaniel Lowe reached base 3 times, had a multi-hit game and reached base 3 times. And Robbie Grossman, of course, the day after I just trashed him mercilessly for his defense, he had a fine defensive day. He was not bad defensively. He was fine. He was passable. It was okay. We survived. All of us, the Robbie Grossman defensive experience. But offensively, like I said, I did say nice things about Robbie Grossman, that against lefties, hitting-wise, he's very good, and he continues to be very good this year against lefties. He's got an 882 OPS now, hitting over 300 against lefties, slugging 500 with an on-base of 382. That's solid. That's really solid. Again, it does not make up for some of the defensive miscues he's had, but I take back what I said about rather seeing Sam Huff in the outfield defensively, but actually, I don't know, after he motored around second base or from second base to score on that Marcus Semien infield single, maybe Sam Huff would be okay out there in left field. But it's really just good to see a multi-hit game from Sam Huff, his second multi-hit game of the season. The other one came against the White Sox earlier a couple weeks ago, or I guess a week ago at the beginning, I believe, of this. Yeah, in the middle of this stretch, the second game, he had a 3-hit game there. And we've seen when Sam Huff gets hot, he is absolutely has as much raw power as literally anybody. In the minor leagues this year, he's had some really, really impressive numbers, hitting 298, which is by far the best at any minor league stint outside of 2018 rookie league. He had 28 games there where he hit 330, but the average is much, much higher. The on base, the walk rate is significantly higher. It had a 389 OPS in 250 plate appearances at AAA Round Rock and slugged 546, 14 bombs for him, 12 doubles in those 252 plate appearances in AAA Round Rock. The guy has got a lot of pop. He is walking. He is having a much more advanced approach, and when he gets into one like we saw in Houston, he can tattoo it just about as far as anybody in Major League Baseball. The guy has got raw pop for days. He is a legit catcher, not going to be an elite one, not going to be Jonah Heim or Austin Hedges level, but he's going to be fine there, competent. Defensively at first base as well, he's been competent there as well, and as your DH, especially against lefties, I think that's fine. I think I can survive the Robbie Grossman experience if this is what the lineup looks like against left-handed pitching with Zeke Duran at third base, with Robbie Grossman in left field, and with Sam Huff at DH. I think that's fine. It's good. You need to get this guy consistent at bats for him to grow. He is a guy who could be a part of your future. You're losing Mitch Garver next year, and catcher is a very tough to stay healthy position. You could beat up a whole bunch, and we know what Jonah Heim is at his peak, but having a backup catcher who can step in and provide you some pop in your lineup and be fine defensively, and occasionally be your DH or even be your primary DH, as I thought Mitch Garver would be this season. We've seen how valuable that is with what Mitch Garver has been doing as of late. Don't look at what he did today. It was fine. He had an off day. His 8-game hitting streak was finally snapped since I believe it was basically during almost all of these games. Outside of one, he's played almost all of these games, so he's going to get a day off on Wednesday, and then we'll be back, I'm assuming, in the lineup on Friday against the San Francisco Giants, who lost a game to the Angels, who had not won since the All-Star break, the exact inverse, until tonight. There was a little bit of drama, and it made it a one-run game, I believe in the top of the 9th inning or the top of the 8th inning, but still good for the Angels getting off that L7. And another team who in the division did get a win, unfortunately, tonight was the Houston Astros. This was a tough game. The Rangers, or the Orioles, I should say, got to Framber Valdez for 5 runs in the first couple innings. 2 massive shots, including a 470-plus foot home run off of, I believe it was Ryan Mountcastle was the one that hit it in the first inning. Then they got a home run from there. I don't know if he was an all-star this year, but should have been an all-star catcher in Adley Rutschman with a 2-run shot there. They got to him for 5 runs in the first couple innings. You think, okay, well, you do that to Framber Valdez, you're going to get away with the win most times with the bullpen that they've got. And they headed into the 9th inning with, of course, a 3-run lead. And unfortunately, it just was not to be. Rodon Alvarez came to bat with runners on first and second. Felix Bautista was the one in the game, and he's been the best closer in baseball this year. It has not been particularly close. He had I believe, .5-ish ERA. I think it was sub 1, honestly, and now I think it's at 1.5 after simply one swing. Well, several swings of the bat. Yordan Alvarez had a ball hit to center fielder Jorge Mateo. That Mateo probably should have caught, but he's a defensive shortstop by trade and has been playing a little bit in center field. He's got elite speed, so they thought, he'll be all right. And he had a home run robbery of Yordan Alvarez earlier in the game, but could not make the play on that one, but the runners only advanced 1 spot. So it was bases loaded for Kyle Tucker. And what does Kyle Tucker do but ruin the hopes and dreams of Rangers fans, even in games where the Rangers aren't playing them? Thought like, oh, look, the Rangers will be able to gain another game. They'll have a 4-game lead heading into the series finale in Oakland. But no, Kyle Tucker hits a grand slam to give the Astros the lead, and then the Astros close it out for a win. The Rangers still only have a 3-game lead in the AL West, which is a darn shame because they have been significantly better than that, and better than the Astros against winning teams with a winning record. The Rangers had the exact inverse record before this game. I believe it was 32-27 against teams that are 500 or better, where the Astros were 27-32 against teams that are 500 or better. Now they are 28-32. So still not a winning record against teams with a winning record, mostly beating up on the bad teams. They've done a much better job of beating up on the bad teams than the Rangers have. I believe, if my memory serves me, the Rangers have not yet swept the A's in a series. They've won every single series, even the 4-game series they had a little while in Oakland. But they have not swept a series yet in Oakland. So this is the time to get greedy. This is the time to step on their throats, go get that W, make it a W9, head to the other side of the bay for a reunion with San Francisco. Say, hey, I'm Bruce Bochy. Remember me, how I won 3 World Series rings with y'all, and then you decided basically you were going to go in a different direction. I took a step away, and now I'm back with a new team that is very freaking good, and that is going to hopefully clobber the other side of the Bay Area, just like they have in this side against the A's. But this is a very, very good team in a very good place, and this is a team that I think has that killer instinct. We have seen what they're like. We have seen, how good they can be at times, and this is a team that their expected wins and loss record is the best in baseball, or tied for the best expected wins and loss record in all of baseball. They should have probably an 8-game lead in the AL West. They have just been that much better for most of the season. They had some early season slip-ups with the bullpen not being very good, with some random blow-up games and some 1-run loss difficulty, which, again, a lot of that comes down to, it feels like, luck. Now the Rangers, I think, are going to be much better. Right now they have an 8-14 record in 1-run games. I suspect by the end of the season, it will be much better because the Rangers have a much more fortified back end of their bullpen of 7, 8, 9, going Josh Boers, Aroldis Chapman, and Will Smith. That is a trustworthy bunch where you can win a lot more 1-run games than when your only trustworthy reliever is just Will Smith, like the Rangers had for the first 2 months of this season, until Josh Boers rounded into form, until they made the trade for Aroldis Chapman and for Chris Stratton and Brock Burke, who also pitched 2 shutout innings, 2 perfect innings in this one. I don't know why he's only being used in lower leverage situations. He had a 2.74 ERA on the season. He doesn't walk anybody. He strikes out a decent amount. I still would like to see him in some more high leverage situation, but the Rangers have 3 really good lefties in their pen, 2 pretty good lefties or two pretty good righties, and a couple other guys that can definitely do a job for you in the right space. This is a team on an 8-game winning streak, hopefully 9 games by the end of Wednesday. But still, this is a great time to be a Texas Rangers fan. Enjoy the holy heck out of it. Who knows how long it's going to last? I think it's going to last for a little while. But still, enjoy these moments while they're happening. Because Max Scherzer is a Texas Ranger, Corey Seager is a Texas Ranger, and this team is on a 8-game winning streak. Thank y'all so much for listening and subscribing. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy first place Texas Rangers baseball.